It's time for Dodger baseball.
That's strike three. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. Mookie Betts cranks one left field. Mookie Betts.
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. I don't care how many times this team rips my heart out. I'll never stop loving the Los Angeles Dodgers. Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
And what's going on, Dodgers Nation? Take two. Welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. We got a jam-packed show. We're going to dive into the latest Shohei Otani rumors. Got some developments. Got some new thoughts on that. Where are we at in the winter of Otani? We're going to dive into the latest Shohei Otani rumors, everything you need to know. Also, the Milwaukee Brewers, they're open for business. Could the Dodgers pull off a blockbuster trade with the Brewers, the Blue Crew and the Brew Crew? Could we see a Corbin Burns, a Willie Adames? Could we see even a Christian Yelich, a Devin Williams? They are open for business. The Dodgers, they have the prospect capital to get a big-time blockbuster deal done. Also, Eduardo Rodriguez, of course, the pitcher that spurned the Dodgers and invoked his no-trade clause at the deadline, decided not to make that deal go through. He's now available to go to any team in Major League Baseball, has opened up his market geographically. We'll talk about him. So much to get into here on this jam-packed late Friday afternoon edition of Dodgers Dugout Live. If you're new to the show, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. We got the return of the buttons. And as always, you guys know, anytime I can hear a burn, a roast, any trash talk, you know I love that, and you're going to see one of these.
Fire take.
I get the fire takes. You're going to see one of these. Comment of the game. You're going to see one of these. Comment of the show. You'll see one of these. Perfect. So let's get right into the action. Let's dive into some comments here. We got F. Rodriguez from Philip. Yeah, I got some thoughts on that. BC. Oh, here we go again. DMAC, the one source for Dodger news. What up, LA for life? We got Dodgers rock and roll. Showtime fans, Mike Trout. Not so sure about Mike Trout, but let's dive into these Ohtani rumors because it feels like there is momentum. It feels like there's momentum in that this is not going to be strung out very long. We're not going to be waiting too long for this Shohei Otani announcement. And I think if you want pitching, if you want a premier player, it's going to start and end with Shohei Otani. I think when it comes to this offseason, he's going to make his decision, and then you'll see more dominoes fall. I think you're going to see the Chapmans, the Bellingers, some of the top pitchers, they'll soon come off the board. But really, this whole entire industry is waiting on Ohtani. We said Reed says, my dad thinks Chris Taylor is cute. Hey, Chris Taylor, I saw him today. Very interesting at the Veterans Day event at Dodger Stadium. By the way, Chris Taylor, he said something interesting today. He said that, yes, they know they're champions from 2020. Yes, that's still a legitimate championship and all that good stuff. But he also said that the Dodgers want a parade. They want the full experience. You could tell that's something that drives this current Dodgers team. So I found that very, very interesting. Michael Hoffer says, sign Eduardo Rodriguez, then trade him to the Pirates. Don't spurn the Dodgers. That's a fire take right there from Michael Hoffer over on YouTube. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You just pull the no LOL JK, we're good. But hey, let's dive into this first Ohtani rumor because according to ESPN's Buster Only, there is belief that Shohei Otani, the unicorn, he's basically already decided where he's going to play. He said a friend of Ohtani said he believes Ohtani already knows where he's going to play and where he wants to sign. He'll go through the process standing back as his agent negotiates and works to goose the final numbers. But in the end, Ohtani will drive this thing. So maybe the bidding doesn't matter that much so long as the team and he wants to play for steps up with a decent offer. And my guess is that'll be the Dodgers. Buster will go on to say one person in the Dodgers organization said that President of Baseball Operations Andrew Friedman is, quote, obsessed with Ohtani, and that Friedman will put LA in position to land him. So that is very encouraging news. That one, he's essentially saying that that decision has already been made, where he wants to go, where he wants to play. And then on top of that, that Andrew Friedman is, quote, obsessed with him. Now, I don't know what that necessarily means. Does that mean that he just wants him so badly that he's willing to give him every single type of contract asset that he needs to, as far as provisions, opt-outs? Does that mean that they're willing to go $500+ million for him? I think in my heart of hearts, really, it's just about the Dodgers wanting a superstar free agent. And I think that is really what we need to see here. Failure is not an option when it comes to Ohtani. And the reality is, if you really want something, you can find a way to get it. And that's what the mentality has to be for Ohtani. If he wants 10 years, $500 million, if he wants to beat the AAV record and be paid $44 million, you do that. If he wants to sign for the most years, you do that. If you want to give him some opt-outs, you do that. Whatever it takes to get Shohei Otani in Dodger blue, then you are going to have to find a way to make that happen. And that's the biggest difference between this year and last year and the year before that. Guess what? I don't think Friedman was obsessed with Corey Seager. I don't think Friedman was obsessed with Carlos Correa. I don't think Friedman was obsessed with Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge signs that $360 million deal, 9 years. That's really the floor for Shohei Otani, right? The fact of the matter is, the team that has the deepest pockets, the team with the most resources, the team that is as hungry to win a World Series as any team in Major League Baseball, has a president of baseball operations that wants this guy badly. And Friedman usually gets what he really wants, right? He doesn't overpay for the things that he kind of wants, but if he really wants it, he's willing to go the extra mile. So I definitely think it's a very positive development. It's been a while, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen, Dodgers Nation, it is back. A round of applause for the Dodgers rumor meter. You guys have been asking about it. Had a nice time off there. Was in Cancun with the rest of the team. I give this a rumor that this decision has already been made a 3 Dodger dogs. I truly do. I think that Shohei Otani is going to have meetings. I think Nez Balello, his agent from CAA, is going to meet with teams like the Cubs, like the Giants, like the Mariners, like the Padres. And really what it's going to come down to, I don't think it's going to be financial. I think all of these teams that are going to entertain the idea of bringing in Ohtani and try to court him already know heading into it that you're going to have to back up the Brinks truck. That, yes, you're not shopping at Whole Foods. You're asking Bobby Flay or Gordon Ramsay to be a private chef and cook at your house, right? You are going big time, big game hunting. So I don't think money's going to be an issue. I do think there are going to be some other facts and factors along with it. I think the factors are, one, are you going to let him pitch? How long are you going to let him pitch? Do you support whatever he wants to do from a player standpoint? Let's say he comes back and the velocity isn't where he wants it to be. The command isn't where he needs it to be. Are you going to let him try to be a closer? Use him as someone that can come out of the bullpen, a la a John Smoltz, who came back off of TJ, ended up winning the Cy Young after that, right? First player to do that. He ends up going back to being a starting pitcher a few years after his stint as a closer. Or what else is the plan? I would say if I'm Shohei Otani, are you going to make me a DH? Can I just be a DH? Can I pitch? Can I be an outfielder? Let's not forget that. Shohei Otani has above average speed, above average athleticism. There is absolutely a world where Ohtani becomes a Gold Glove caliber outfielder, possibly a center fielder. And guess what? This is a Dodgers team that could be in the need of outfielders in the future. They could sign someone this year to a shorter-term contract, an outfielder that provides some pop, go out there and trade a guy on an expiring contract, and then a few years down the road, you got Mookie, you got Ohtani out there in the outfield, and hopefully James Outman continues to develop. So I think that's really the big factor. But right now, you've got the industry saying that the Dodgers are the far and above favorites. They are big-time, massive favorites for Shohei Otani. And I think that maybe that could give you a little skepticism. Maybe if you want to be a little pessimistic about it, where it almost feels like it's too good to be true, and you're probably saying to yourself, is it a 70% chance, 80% chance? Is it a slam dunk? Are jerseys already being made? Are social media graphics already being generated? Is the announcement imminent? Makes you wonder. But if you look at the Vegas odds right now for Shohei Otani, the Dodgers, they're sitting at -110. The Giants are second at +500, Mariners +700, Mets +700, Yankees +750, Rangers +850, Red Sox +1300, Angels +1500, Cubs +1500. We'll talk about them in a second. Then Phillies, Blue Jays, and Padres. Padres probably the best bet there at +2000. And if you heard the news today, it's been reported that the Padres are going to possibly trade Juan Soto. The talk right now within the industry is that expectations are that Juan Soto gets moved before the season. Does this increase their chances, the Padres, of going after Shohei Otani? Maybe a tiny bit. The reality is Juan Soto is on one more year of team control. He was never going to sign there long term. So from a financial standpoint, it's chump change compared to the big picture, right? As far as how much Ohtani is going to cost, but it's something very, very interesting. But we're going to continue to dive into these Shohei Ohtani rumors. We're going to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers and a potential blockbuster deal with them. So much going on. That hot stove, guys, is starting to heat up just a little bit. A little bit. My mom told me not to touch the stove. I'd always touch it. I'd always touch it and get burned because I love me the hot stove. Love me those fire takes you guys are bringing down below in the comments section. But, let's read some comments, guys. What do you make of this? Do you think that it is a slam dunk? Do you think it has been decided? It's a good question. We got Betts at second base. Will make this club offensively a beast. 30 to 35 home runs at second base. Plus, you can seek a power hitting right fielder. Yeah, Justin, that's what I've been saying for weeks now, right? I mean, it's so much easier to find a hitter that you can throw in the outfield that gives you 30-plus bombs compared to a second baseman. GM Brandon Gomes the other day said that Mookie's ability to play the infield opens up some options. So I don't mind Ohtani being a shutdown closer, Showtime fans. Absolutely. Look, the reality of this situation is from a WAR standpoint, from a value standpoint, Shohei Ohtani as a hitter is someone that is worth $500 million, right? He's someone that you could justify that amount of money. He's essentially, if he comes back as an ace, and that's the big question. That's the big question. Does he want to put himself in a position that where Ohtani signs a deal that has an opt-out, and then he reestablishes himself as an ace next year, and then he re-enters the market? Or do you put certain provisions in his contract that allows him to earn more money throughout the duration of that contract in the event that he regains that ace status? Because, look, make no mistake about it. I mean, we've dove deep into the Ohtani numbers, right? We can do that again now if you want. And the reality with Shohei Ohtani is that when he's at his best, when he's fully healthy, everyone wants Corey Seager back, right? Everyone wants Corey Seager back with the Dodgers. He's essentially the Traducan version of Corey Seager and Jacob deGrom when he's at his best. We're talking about an ace caliber starting pitcher, a Cy Young caliber starting pitcher, one who leads the league with a strikeout rate above 30%, someone who misses bats, someone who has high velocity and a splitter and a sweeper, and then the most complete hitter in the game, a lefty with a sweet stroke, hits for power, hits for average, hits over 300, can get you over 40 bombs a year, right? An elite hitter, really the best, most complete baseball player in the game from a pitching standpoint and a baseball standpoint, because guess what? He's the only person that does what he does, right? So you factor from a value standpoint what he can provide, and then from a marketing standpoint, this is the most famous, the most marketing athlete in the sport, and he's so marketable. I mean, there's no one even in his class. Last year, Shohei Otani, New Balance, Seiko, watches, Fanatics, so many endorsements, right? He made $40 million in endorsements last year. $40 million. Do you know how much the second biggest number was for that? The player that made the second most in endorsements last year? It was Bryce Harper, and he made $7 million. After that, it was Aaron Judge, who made $4.5 million with the New York Yankees, an MVP. So $40 million. I mean, this guy's unbelievably marketable. We got Ohtani has 100 RBI season. Ancillary stats like WAR, OPS plus don't make up for production. Michael Hoffer, I'll actually push back on that just a little bit. And I respect your baseball acumen. You're a bright and astute baseball mind. But look, RBI definitely is a stat that is largely predicated on the success of your other teammates and the opportunities that you have. I mean, there's really no statistic out there that doesn't point to the fact that Shohei Otani is nothing short of an absolutely elite player at the plate. I don't think that anything would really prove otherwise. I mean, Ohtani's been an absolute beast. There's no doubt about it. He's someone that is... I will say, if you want to point out something, yeah, guess what? I have played in as many postseason games as Shohei Otani, right? There is that. I'm not going to act like, okay, that's not a factor, but still, I mean, you look at his projections. Next year, Shohei Otani, these are his projected numbers. Next year, he's projected to hit 272, have an on-base of 378, slug 538, with a 380 WOBA, a 142 weighted runs created plus, have a 13.9 walk rate and a 24.7 strikeout rate. And those numbers, I think, are pretty conservative. I think there's pretty much no doubt you're going to see him perform better than that. I mean, you're talking about someone who's the defending American League home run leader, who just last 304, 412, 64, had 20 stolen bases. Swing is gorgeous. The performance on the field is without question on another level. So shut down Shohei would be sick as a closer nickname. That's from Alex. I love that. It's a great fire take over there. Remember last year the Giants were going to get Judge until he went back to the Yankees from Wilfredo Cordova. Mike Taylor, if he can beat the odds of pitchers with two TJ types of serve injuries statistically, that's from Mike Taylor. Look at Nathan Eovaldi, who just had his second Tommy John surgery a few years ago, and then he was somebody regained his velocity. You saw how he performed with the Boston Red Sox, but still, like I said, it's icing on the cake, but I wouldn't make that be a deal breaker if I'm the Dodgers or any team out there. I do think that Ohtani is athletic enough. He's as athletic enough to go out there and develop into an elite outfielder. I think people are missing that point. I think a lot of people are caught up in the fact that, yes, he will not be able to pitch in 2024, and that does take away from some of the unicorn spectacle of Ohtani, right? You're not going to see him on the mound and striking out big-time players in big-time moments like we saw there in the WBC when he punched out Mike Trout to win, right? You're not going to see that. But still, the worst case scenario, think about this. The best case scenario for Shohei Otani is an MVP bat, an elite slugger, an elite hitter from the left side, who also can post an ERA in the 3 range, lead the league in strikeout percentage, shove on the biggest stage, hopefully, right? So that's his best case scenario. Best case scenario, ace-level pitcher, MVP caliber bat. MVP level hitter, Cy Young Award winner. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario, the floor for Shohei Otani is an elite hitter and someone who could possibly be a closer. And then the floor also is you could transition him to being an elite outfielder. There's no reason why Shohei Otani couldn't be an elite outfielder. So I think it's still a no-brainer. There's no doubt about it. But let's continue on here on what else we got with Shohei Otani, because some interesting developments as far as other teams that could be involved. John Heyman said the Dodgers are considered the favorites because of their payroll, their track record for on-field success. Also, Ohtani's reported fondness for Southern California. Let's not forget that Shohei Otani has lived here since 2018. Let's not forget that his agent is at CAA. Let's not forget that his inner circle is in Southern California. Do you really think he wants to uproot all of that and go to Chicago, go to Texas? Maybe. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. It's definitely a possibility, but still, from a comfort factor, this is someone who is very regimented. He's someone that is a stickler for his routine. I've seen it myself. I was right there in the bullpen when he was warming up when he pitched against the Dodgers, and he was outstanding in that game, right? the focus for him is on baseball. And I don't think he wants to worry about the other things, the other distractions of trying to integrate himself in another community, in another city, and that sort of stuff. He wants to get right into baseball, find a way to have that postseason success, win that World Series, and really cement his legacy as one of the best players of all time. So I definitely think that the Southern California roots are a factor. Now, you probably ask, well, what about the Angels, right? An Angels reunion. Is that possible? I think the Anthony Rendon contract definitely hurts that. The Angels and Perry Maniason and Artie Moreno, say what you want about them. They have paid up big. Just look at the deal that Mike Trout signed. That was the biggest deal at the time, right? So they have shown a willingness to go big. I'm not ruling that out as a possibility. But if you're Shohei Otani, you go back to the Angels. I mean, what are we supposed to think about how much you are apparently interested in winning, right? I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't see that right now. But let's do some more comments here. Continue to break this down. Welcome to Dodgers Dugout Live here on a Friday afternoon. I was at the Veterans Day event at Dodger Stadium, so we couldn't go on this morning. So, I can't miss it live, guys. I'm here for you all year long. I don't care if it's Friday. Don't care if it's the weekend. We got to talk Dodger baseball. Burns and Williams, and if Yelich get to the deal done, that's from Coast to Coast 360. We're going to talk about that in a second here. Luis Eduardo, serious money will need to be spent to get Shohei. Dodgers entered 2023 spending almost $100 million less than 2022. Are the Dodgers willing to spend the damn money? I have zero doubts that the Dodgers are going to be willing to match any astronomical price that another franchise is going to offer. Like I said, Andrew Friedman gets what he wants. He is reportedly obsessed with Shohei Otani. The Dodgers, they have everything. They have the wealth, right? The Dodgers have the TV contract, $8.25 billion. Lead the league in attendance. Second behind the Yankees in revenue, almost $600 million. They can't afford Shohei Otani. They don't need to be looking over under your seat cushions in the couches or anything like that. No, they have the money. When I say you give Shohei Otani that blank check, you say, what do you want? What do you need? What do you want us to write on this blank check, right? I'm telling you. By the way, what's your reaction going to be when the Dodgers sign Shohei Otani? What is your reaction going to be? Because I'll show you what my reaction is going to be when the Dodgers sign Shohei. Telling you, man, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Show me the money from Ronald Pasquale. Fire Dave Roberts. Someone had to say it. There you go. It's a fire take.
Fire take.
Just Lum says, I'll dance, start Bullock naked. Okay, all right. My reaction is one round sweep, okay? He wants a World Series from LC. Thank you to all our veterans. Absolutely, Carl. Alex, if Dodgers want to make smart business move, this is a lucrative deal with all upside. Yeah, absolutely. And 100%. It helps you win, helps you sell tickets. Also, too, this will be the most relevant the Dodgers have ever been since the days of Jackie Robinson on a cultural level. Since Fernando Valenzuela, right? There's been some big teams, right? We saw in 1988, the team that was the unlikely World Series champions. We saw this team turn to the best team that money can buy with a lot of superstars. But you're talking about a entirely new fan base. The Dodgers already have a strong Japanese fan base. There's no doubt about that. But you bring in a Shohei Otani, you bring in Ohtani fans. Fans that aren't even, there's fans right now that own zero Dodgers gear. They don't have a Dodgers hat. They don't have a Dodgers jersey. They don't have a Dodgers t-shirt or a lanyard or a jacket or all those cool things you guys have, bumper stickers, whatever it may be. They have none of that stuff that will instantly, the second that Jeff Passan tweet hits and says that the Dodgers and Shohei Otani have agreed to a deal, 10 years, $500 million, whatever it may be, right? Whenever that hits, in the blink of an eye, you're going to have an entirely new demographic of fans, an entirely new group of fans that are Ohtani fans that will support this fan base. So just think about that. Think about the road games. Think about when the Dodgers go to New York, when they go to Boston, when they go to Chicago. So it's going to be a cultural phenomenon. They're going to be the Beatles of baseball. D-Mac's #1 fan. What up, D-Mac? I'm still waiting on my poster. By the way, D-Mac's #1 fan. I got you, bro. DM me, man. DM me over on Twitter. You guys know the DMs are open for sure. I'll get you one, my man. Someone said that my son tweeted the other day, D-Mac Jr., my dad would be happier than the day I was born. That's a bruh, D-Mac Jr. Also, I love what you said the other day saying that my dad loves Miguel Vargas Jr. more than me. That is not true. By the way, D-Mac Jr., go walk the dog, man. What the heck? Do your choice. Go walk the Dodger, dog. Showtime Dodgers, of course. Do you think they will increase the price of the authentic jerseys if Ohtani signs? 9-inch pincher. I would say to that, the answer is no, because really authentic jersey prices are standardized across Major League Baseball, and that's through Nike. And on Fanatics, you'll see it. I think, what is it right now? It's over $300. I will say possibly stadium prices could go up, and maybe if they sell out all the jerseys, you'll have to buy on the aftermarket, so you'll be based then off of people's prices. Hey, it's supply and demand. But the double Shohei Shoeis, that's from Rake and Bake. Yeah, you guys don't be doing crazy Shohei Shoei on this show. How much more do we need? ROI on a contract will be pennies. That's from Samuel Kim. I mean, look, it depends on how you look at it. It really does, because there's a lot of intangible benefits. Branding, looking at this team and what they have to gain from a World Series standpoint. If you look at this, is a franchise that hasn't been playing deep into the postseason, right? You're not really getting that gate revenue from NLCSs or World Series. So they form a dynasty. Definitely would beg to differ on that. D-Mac looks like the Dodgers are ready to pitch their tents for Ohtani. DCam, hey, D-Mac, my brother ID, currently a soldier. Give me that fire. I'll share it for Shohei. Absolutely, DCam. Yeah, thank you to all of our service members on Veterans Day. We can't appreciate you enough. And, yeah, it's unbelievable, Dave. And it was a great moment at Dodger Stadium. The crowd that made it out there, tons of veterans. I spoke to people from the military, from the Marines to the Army to the Coast Guard. It was pretty funny how they asked Chris Taylor which one would he join. He said the Coast Guard because he likes to serve. So I don't know if Chris Taylor thought that that's what you do there is serve for the Coast Guard. I definitely don't think that's the case. But, yeah, thank you to all of our service members out there, the men and women and the veterans that really support and work for this country. But we got Brantley is old. USC's out of the top 25. I got Jams. Are they really? Ohtani threw a slider in 2018, and now it's a sweeper. How is that? Well, I mean, I don't want to go into the weeds on that, but a slider, really more of a late sharp break, a sweeper, more of a horizontal break. So it's a little bit of a different pitch. I got you on the posters. I don't even have posters, to be honest with you, but I'll figure something out. Lux is going to rake. Okay, so moving on here, though, and continuing to unpack these Shohei Otani rumors. Now, I think that a team that could potentially pose a threat, if you want to make a list, right? Dodgers, Giants, Rangers. Well, there seems to be a little bit of buzz about the Chicago Cubs. John Heyman talked about the Yankees and Mets. They're going to check in on Ohtani, but the word on the street is that Ohtani is reluctant to live in New York City. I don't know how truthful that is or if that's really based in fact, but Nightingale said that he lists the Cubs as a serious contender for Ohtani and adds that several GMs are saying that the Cubs may be the most aggressive team on Ohtani. He also said the Rangers are considered a serious contender as well. So the Rangers aren't a surprise. That's a team that you just won a World Series. You've shown a willingness to spend big on free agents. They're trying to go all in, maximize this run. I can see that, right? The Cubs are interesting because they made a ton of moves, right? I mean, you bring in a Craig Counsell. Will you try to bring in a Bellinger? Will you try to bring back Stroman? You've got Steele. There are some pieces there, and he was fond of the Cubs initially, right? He was fond of the Cubs initially when he was making his decision back in 2018. You've got some decent bullpen arms. You got Morrell at third base. I mean, that Cubs team definitely has some pieces. They have some potential there. They are one of the iconic franchises. Wrigley Field, to me, blows Fenway Park out of the water. I think Wrigley Field, other than Dodger Stadium, is the best ballpark in baseball. Love me some Wrigley Field. So, yeah, are they a threat? Possibly. It just comes down to the factors. I think Ohtani, at the end of the day, is going to combine comfort with winning, right? I don't even think money's going to be a big factor here. I truly don't think so, because I think all these teams that want him have already planned for this. There's no way that you make an investment and spend as big as this for something that you didn't anticipate years in advance, right? If you're going to buy a house or make a big purchase, you don't do it on a whim, right? It's not an impulse buy. It's going to be no impulse buys for Shohei Otani. So I think that it's really going to come down to, does he think he can win in Chicago? I mean, that's also a very weak division, especially when we look at the Brewers. We're going to talk about in a second here that are basically going to potentially enter a teardown and try to trade off a lot of their big pieces. So, yeah, do I respect the Cubs as a team that could be a threat? I do, just because I think that a team like the Cubs, they would see the attraction of an Ohtani. They would be willing to bring him in because they have pieces, they have money to spend. They're a franchise that makes a ton of money. Now, I think it's just on the Dodgers to tell Ohtani and prove to him that, hey, the Dodgers are the team that has the prospect capital, has the depth, has shown the ability to make it to the postseason for the last 11 consecutive seasons. They're hungry for a World Series title. So, yeah, what are your thoughts down below? Do you think the Cubs pose a big threat for Ohtani? We got No who says, I'm not feeling very confident in us to getting Ohtani. Hepatitis, see you later. Why would Ohtani join the Cubs, who haven't made the playoffs in like 4 years? Yeah, and also they had a 108-year drought, right? I mean, I don't know. I really personally, I think the reality is they do have a pretty decent roster. Chicago's a big market. It's not as far east as, let's say, New York or Boston or Mets, Boston, or the Yankees. So there's that. But Texas, I would say, I would rank them. I think the Giants are still a threat. I think the Giants are still a sneaky threat. I think the Angels possibly are still a sneaky threat. The Padres still a sneaky threat. Alex says a 1 Dodger dog level threat. Yeah, I'll throw that Dodgers rumor meter. I would say for the Cubs, I give it a 2 Dodger dogs right now. People are talking. You need this to go a couple of different ways. So that's going to be very, very interesting. I think the Giants, I don't know. I mean, you look at that right field wall. I don't know if that makes a ton of sense. I think the Yankees, if the Yankees with their ballpark dimensions and their history were on the West Coast, that'd be a different conversation. So, and look, the reality is Farhan Zaidi, until he proves that he can step up and bring in a key marquee free agent, not an Arson Judge, right, or Carlos Correa, I still have my doubts. Michael Hoffer says, I want pitching. Michael Correa says, you're sleeping on the Mariners. He owns a house there. Michael Correa. Yeah, I think, look, the Mariners are a team that is always an attraction for an Ohtani who has spent summers there in the offseason. You've got the Ichiro connection there. Japanese players have had success in Seattle. Are they going to be willing to sign Ohtani and put the pieces around him to be World Series contenders? That is my big question, because if you're Shohei and you are probably theoretically taking up a good chunk of your payroll, right? $44 million a year, $50 million a year. Can a team like the Mariners, even if they're acting like they're willing to spend, will they really put the pieces around him to be able to develop a World Series contender? Because they've got some nice pieces. Make no mistake about it. Respect the M's. I truly do. I love me some Luis Castillo. You got J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. There's no doubt about it. There are pieces there, but will they be able to get the depth on the margins? Will they be able to develop from a prospect standpoint to be able to have success throughout that run? That's kind of the worry that I have. Also, too, I mean, look at DePoto and some of his comments about winning just 64% of their games and things like that. I'm not so sure that would sit well. That doesn't seem to me like an organization that is determined to win. If you have to ask me, I like my guys on the Dodgers as far as their front office and what they bring and their commitment to winning compared to the Mariners. Showtime fan says, no Giants, please. Michael says, did teams find out how Blake Snell throws his Roger Bashins football and teach it to every pitcher? Isn't that the blueprint? Teach it to every pitcher and spend money on the hitting. Lance Jennings, thank you for a great channel following our favorite team. Hey, thanks for rocking with us, Lance. Always rocking with you guys here on Dodgers Dugout Live. But coming up next, we'll talk some more Ohtani, and then we're going to dive into this Eduardo Rodriguez discussion here. Should LA consider Erod after he spurned them at the trade deadline? We'll talk a little more about the Milwaukee Brewers, and should the Dodgers go full blockbuster mode with the Brew Crew? That's coming up next here on Dodgers Dugout Live.
What up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here. Here to remind you that if you have not yet, you should subscribe to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel for all latest Dodgers news, rumors, hype videos, interviews, breakdowns, live streams, and more all year long. Hit that subscribe button. notification bell. If you really want to help the channel out, smash that like button. Also, you will not be eligible for any of our giveaways unless you are subscribed to the channel. So all you need to do to be eligible for all of our giveaways is just make sure that you are subscribed. We just gave away a brand new, authentic Mookie Betts jersey valued at over $350. And we got tons of giveaways coming this offseason. So be sure to be subscribed. You are eligible to win. And as always, think blue, bleed blue, and please subscribe.
And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live. So let's continue rolling here on a Friday night, late Friday edition of Dodgers Dugout Live. A little hot stove talk here. So let's talk about some Corbin Burnes. Let's talk about the Milwaukee Brewers, because Ken Rosenthal in his recent piece for The Athletic said that, quote, those sources briefed on the Brewers discussions but not authorized to discuss them publicly say the team is open to moving virtually any player on its roster. The process effectively has begun, with the Brewers sending outfielder Mark Canha to the Detroit Tigers for a pitching prospect. A continued teardown, considering the Brewers' current position, would not be without logic. It might even be the proper course. So that tells you that the Brewers are open for business. Corbin Burnes, Willy Adames, Devin Williams. You can go and make a big blockbuster deal. You could even consider trading for a Christian Yelich if you want to go that route. Still has tons of money on his contract. But for me, this is the top option. For me, this has to be priority number one for the Dodgers. You have to find a way to get a Corbin Burnes if he becomes available. He would go on to say, as for Burnes, the Brewers could keep him, make him a qualifying offer at the end of the season, and receive a 2025 draft pick after he signs elsewhere, but they likely would fare better in a trade, and by avoiding his final year of arbitration would save a projected $15.1 million according to MLB trade rumors. So, look, Corbin Burnes is the guy. I'll say it flat out. Corbin Burnes is the pitcher they should trade for with a bullet. If you had the option of Corbin Burnes, Dylan Cease, Mitch Keller, or Tyler Glasnow, I'm going to go Corbin Burnes. As far as someone that you can trust, he's someone that is a Cy Young Award winner. Is his stuff as good as it was a few years ago? I'm not so sure I'm willing to go there, but still, he's put up really, really good numbers. The peripherals are there. The stuff is still elite. I think that he's the guy that the Dodgers should absolutely go all in with. And also, you consider the fact that, yes, he is a Scott Boras client, and he switched to Scott Boras last year, but the numbers are there. The production is there. Corbin Burnes is the guy. And I don't care if you have to include some of your top prospects, and we'll talk about some guys they could include with them. But the reason why I really like Burnes is the fact that he has had some taste of the postseason, right? He has had some success in the postseason. Yes, he didn't have his best start against the Diamondbacks in the wild card round, but still, it wasn't terrible. They got hot. He still was in the fourth inning of that game. It's not like he got absolutely shelled in the first inning or anything like that. And look, everything really checks out for Burnes. He has ace-level stuff. If you're making a list of the pitchers in Major League Baseball that have the best stuff, Corbin Burnes is right up there. And he's someone that is going to be entering his platform year. You know he's going to want to put up big numbers and have a great season, get himself a nice bag. And I think it's a perfect fit because it still gives the Dodgers some flexibility. You could test drive him for a year, see what you like, and if you really like him, you could try to sign him long term. You could try to extend him. You could try to possibly give him a $200 million contract if that's what he's worth. But if you look at his numbers across the board, they're really good. The expected ERA, 3.40. Expected batting average, 73rd percentile. Average exit velocity, 86.4 miles per hour. That was in the 92nd percentile. Everything that he does is either average or well above league average. There's nothing that he does at a bad or below league average level. If you look at his stuff, pitching run value, 96th percentile, fastball run value, breaking ball run value, off-speed run value. And look, they are going to Burnes it down in Milwaukee, and I think that he is the perfect fit. He has to be the central piece. Now, another thing you consider is Willy Adames. Shortstop Willy Adames is another. This is from Ken Rosenthal in his piece about Willy Adames. He says, shortstop Willy Adames is another potential free agent and another obvious trade candidate. If the Brewers embark upon a sell-off, they would figure to listen even on left fielder Christian Yelich, who has transformed himself into a quality leadoff hitter. Yelich, though, is under contract for 5 more years and $130 million and possesses full no-trade protection. So the next little conversation here is, do you try to pursue a Willy Adames deal with possibly a Christian Yelich? Now, let's focus on just Burnes and Adames at the moment, because I think if you're going to make the deal for Burnes, might as well inquire about Adames, who is one of the better shortstops defensively. Offensively, he has pop. The thing for Willy Adames that you don't love, of course, the strikeouts are high, especially at that position. The on-base percentage is one of the lowest. Last year, he had a 310. Was it 310 on-base percentage? Year before that, 298. So it was a below-average bat last year, but still the pop is there. 24 home runs last season, 31 in 2022, 25 home runs in 2021, right? And he's someone who is young enough to, could he be the shortstop for the future? Or would it be a rental? Or do you play him at third base? And then another question, would you consider giving up Gavin Lux for a Corbin Burnes and a Willy Adames? Possibly a Christian Yelich. Gavin Lux is from Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin. I think the thing with Gavin Lux is, at his best, he's not going to hit 31 home runs. At his best, he's not going to hit 24 home runs. At his best, he's not going to be as good defensively as Willy Adames. But what does he have that Willy Adames doesn't have? Well, he's under team control for till the year 2027. So he's definitely on an affordable contract for quite some time at a premium position if he's able to prove that he can play that position long term. So would they flip Gavin Lux in that deal? I'm not so sure they would. I think that you'd be selling him on the low side, which I'd rather not. Rather try to sell him when his value is better, or try to see if he can grow into being that everyday shortstop. Remember, Gavin Lux said that it's every player's dream to be the shortstop for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Might as well give him time to see if he can realize that dream. So there's that as a possibility. Yelich, I think, is pretty interesting. I mean, look, Christian Yelich is by no means a bad player. He's someone who has started to stabilize after having a really down year a few years ago. Last year, though, really put things together. I mean, he hit 278, had a 122 weighted runs created plus, hit 19 home runs, had 76 RBI. The Dodgers need an outfielder. He's from Southern California. I wouldn't be totally against it, but I think at that point, you're starting to talk about a commitment that I don't think I really want to have. I'm down to have a fling, right, with some of these players, but I don't want to be married to them, right? I mean, someone like that, that's a lot of years remaining on that deal for someone who is just really a slightly above average bat. But let's get your thoughts down below on Corbin Burnes, on Willy Adames, on a Christian Yelich package. Would you want to go blockbuster Brewers? Because that, to me, I think that's the interesting question right now. So some more thoughts on this, but I want to read some of your comments here before we continue to break this one down. But we got... They brought on Carl Crawford. They can bring in Yelich. Yeah, Nando 390. Look, this is a team that you paid for Carl Crawford. You paid for a Trevor Bauer to not pitch. I mean, this is an organization that has shown the willingness to go that route, right? Mind you, it's about trying to solidify this starting rotation. It's about possibly looking to bolster the infield if you want to go that route. But look, you have to take advantage. When teams like the Brewers are willing to sell their pieces off, there's not a lot of teams out there that have this treasure trove of prospects that the Dodgers do have. And I would rather go this route because, look, you look at the Rule 5 draft and some of these options and some of these guys that they have to trade or get rid of and they can't protect. You're going to have to really fill this roster at some point with guys that you want long term, right? I mean, this roster is already filling up quickly, close to 40, and that's without an Ohtani, without some of these other guys that they plan on bringing back. So we got Austin Brubaker. Good evening, D-Mac. Keep the great content. Oh, my Austin Brubaker from Dodgers Daily, man. Hey, he brings his facts to the fight. Always crunching numbers, man. We got to get you on the show one day. Tell my man Casey Porter what's up, my good guy. But thanks as always, man. We appreciate you rocking with us. But no interest in a Brewers Brewers trade, they will deal with the Yankees. Look, of course, I mean, it's a possibility, but I mean, look, the Brewers are essentially going the route of the Tampa Bay Rays. The Brewers are essentially the Tampa Bay Rays with fans. Okay, that's what the Brewers are. They're also in a very interesting position where they have one of the worst TV deals in Major League Baseball. That TV deal is expiring very soon. And then on top of that, you got an owner that they know what they're doing. They know how to stay competitive, and you got to give them a lot of credit for that. I think that the Brewers are a team that they maximize talent, they scout well, they develop well, but this is just their model. I mean, their plan was always to have Peralta and Ashby replace Burns and Woodruff and develop that next wave of contributors and starters and position players. And I think what really killed them is the Woodruff injury, because the Woodruff injury was the key to really stockpiling and replenishing that farm system once again. And he was someone that was going to be easier to sign than a Corbin Burns. Now, Burns is gone. They're going to trade him. He's gone. Burns is good as gone. Some team is going to trade for Corbin Burns. Do you want it to be your team, the Los Angeles Dodgers, or another contender that you could face in the postseason, right? So I think they're also going to trade Yelich if they can do it, because they also have a lot of good outfielders coming up. They have a next wave of outfielders, so I think they're going to trade Yelich. And if it comes down to having to take on Yelich's contract, there could be worse problems, right? Those are champagne problems, right? No one can get sat on a yacht, right? Those are champagne problems. I mean, give me an above-average outfielder in Christian Yelich, a guy that by all accounts is someone who's a great clubhouse guy. He has an MVP, could have won 2 MVPs. I do have some concerns about his back that has been barking, and you worry about that, but yeah, I definitely love the idea of making a deal with the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, would you give up? That's the big question. What would your trade package look like with the Milwaukee Brewers? I think Michael Busch has to be included in that mix. Michael Busch looks like a Milwaukee Brewer. Let's just be honest about that. Emmett Sheehan is very interesting because from a pure raw stuff standpoint, Emmett Sheehan is explosive. Emmett Sheehan is nasty. That fastball is ridiculous, right? And you look at Ryan Pepio. I think Pepio has proven that he can be a starting pitcher in this league, whether it be a high-level number 3, a number 4 as his floor, number 5 as his floor. I think when you've seen the improvements to his command and the commitment to the slider, the changeup, I always say it's nastier than a gas station bathroom, right? Ryan Pepio has proven that he can pitch in this league. Some of his BABIP and stranded runners, last year, maybe a little bit of a concern and a harbinger of bad things to come as far as regression to the mean, but Pepio is someone they could be after. I mean, do you include some of these other prospects down the list? I mean, the Dodgers, they are rife with right-handed pitchers up and down this farm system. You could throw in 2 or 3 of those guys and still be okay. I think as far as headliners go, you have the option of, do you want to keep some of those guys and take on a Christian Yelich, who is basically a negative trade value when you look at that contract, right? If that's the case, you could trade for Yelich and Burns and Adames, or even Devin Williams. I think Devin Williams makes a ton of sense. Devin Williams, someone Yankees, Rangers, Dodgers, he's going to be a big piece this offseason. If I had to choose between Williams and Adames, I think I'm going Williams possibly, right? He's under 2 more years of team control. So, look, the reality is, Dodgers are in a great position, right? The Dodgers are like that billionaire who still has all their money during a recession, and then houses get foreclosed and they just buy all of them up because they still got the money and they get even more wealthy, right? The Brewers, though, you got to sell, right? I mean, it's kind of a mess. Let's be honest. It's a mess in Milwaukee. I mean, Counsell was a big blow. You got Burns, Adames, Woodruff, Williams. Contract issues have been known for a few years. It's basically a little ticking clock there. And that clock is about to hit 0, and you got to trade these guys in ownership. They're not going to spend above market to retain these players. So I definitely think they're going to be trying to trade them. I think the Brewers ownership has given basically the indication that they are not going to go the Padres route. They're going to go the Rays route, and they're going to try to flip these pieces, try to replenish and start the process all over again. But, I'm very excited about the possibility of that. I'm Dodgers pregnant now. I'm expecting an Ohtani baby in December, bro. I love that. Devin Williams is fired from DCAM. Yes, Devin Williams from Mario Landaverde we got to grab Burns and drop that prospect capital on Luis Robert Jr. DC. White Sox ain't trading Luis Robert Jr. I highly doubt that. He's on such a team-friendly contract unless they want a complete fire sale. Look, the same report that featured this said that the White Sox are willing to consider anything and everything. So, yeah, if you get a Luis Robert Jr., that's kind of the question. Would you rather have a Corbin Burns and a Willie Adames and Devin Williams and a Yelich, two of those four mix and match? I think Burns is the guaranteed one, right? Or do you try to go the Cease route, try to poach some of those White Sox players? It's something that they're going to have to do. I can guarantee you this offseason, I'd be shocked if the Dodgers don't make a trade with either the Brewers or the White Sox. Those are the two teams. If you guys have been watching this show for years, you guys have known I've been trying to manifest Corbin Burns and a trade with the Milwaukee Brewers. Willie Adames. Same thing with the White Sox and Dylan Cease. I like Dylan Cease. Like I said, I think he fits perfectly in Los Angeles. Kind of got that hipster vibe. Can live in Silver Lake. He looks like he collects typewriters. How many typewriters do you think Dylan Cease has? But let's go down below in the comments section. We need to sign Ohtani, trade for Cease instead of Burns, since Cease has more years under team control and he is younger with more dynamic stuff. The sign Nola, that would make us World Series contenders. Yeah, speaking of Aaron Nola, let's switch gears right here and talk about Eduardo Rodriguez. Yes, Eduardo Rodriguez, the same guy that said no to the Dodgers at the deadline. Well, the source now has informed teams there is no longer any geographic restrictions in free agency. John Morosi talked about this, saying the Dodgers almost traded for him, and now he's opening things up, and this could be an encouraging sign for the Dodgers and the Giants. I think this is a bunch of baloney from the standpoint that, look, all these guys are not going to do anything that would minimize their market in any realm, right? They're always going to try to maximize the amount of suitors so you can have a bidding war. But let's talk about Rodriguez for a second. Let's talk about Erod. So Rodriguez, just a little rewind here. He signed with the Tigers back in few years ago. He signed a 5-year, $77 million deal in November of 2021. That included an opt-out after the 2023 season, which Rodriguez chose to exercise and forego the remaining 3 years and $49 million of that deal. Now, last season, he posted a 3.30 ERA, a 3.66 FIP, a 4.06 xFIP, and 152 2/3 innings. Now, some of his peripherals and hard contact numbers and some of the under-the-hood numbers I'm not very impressed with. Someone brought up Nola. He's essentially a Wish.com left-handed version of Aaron Nola, right? I would say not the same pitcher. Remember him slamming his glove on the ground when he gave the home run to Puig, right? He's definitely good. He's definitely good. And as far as starting pitchers go, the Dodgers need another left-handed pitcher at some point. Who's that going to be? I think Imanaga. I'd rather have Imanaga than Erod, right? You had your chance to be a Dodger, okay? You had your chance. And look, business is business. I'm not faulting him for invoking his no-trade clause, but let's do a little more deep diving on him. Let's dive right into these weeds here with Eduardo Rodriguez. Now, other thing, too, relies on that fastball, has thrown a little more changeup, and I think moving forward you'll probably see that. But in 11 starts when he came back this year after he was dealing with that finger injury, he had a 2.13 ERA with a 25.5% strikeout rate, a 6.1 walk rate, right? And that's how he started the year. He was great. Then after, he was okay. Didn't really knock anyone's socks off, but still, you look at the ERA, if that's what you're into, not the biggest ERA guy, but a 3.30 ERA. Results-wise, that's solid. And according to Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic, Rodriguez's agent, Gino Mato, proposed an additional year after he was traded to the Dodgers at $20 million on Rodriguez's contract if he'd accept that trade to LA and declined to opt out after the season. So that tells you right there. If you want to rewind a little bit, if he had accepted that trade and the Dodgers were willing to give him $20 million, that means that he would have been paid $69 million over a 4-year span from 2024 to 2027. So how much could you get him for? 80, 90, 100 million, something in that range. It's definitely possible. He's someone that has shown the ability to be an innings eater. He's definitely had some nice strikeout numbers at times. He's someone that doesn't do a lot of things bad, does a lot of things average, good, nothing terrible. He's not someone that is elite, far from elite, but far from terrible. I think that he's something that's going to help a franchise out there. I'm just not so high on the idea of Erod. He's had some issues. I don't know if you guys know. He left the team for a month, had some marital issues. Look, I'm done with drama with my pitchers. I just want guys to go out on the mound and shove every 5th or 6th day. So for me, in the words of Randy Jackson, that's a no from me, dog, on Eduardo Rodriguez. I say maybe the Dodgers sit down with him and they write him a big fat contract of like $100 million. And right when they slide it over to him, they pull it away, just rip it up in his face and say, psych, and do something like that. Why not? But let me know your thoughts on Eduardo Rodriguez. No, but honestly, business is business. But for me, he's not my cup of tea as far as pitchers go. Like I said, if you look at some of the peripherals and things like that, I just don't think that he's someone that necessarily is going to be a game-changing pitcher. I'd rather take the risk and take the possibility, the mystery box of a Imanaga at that point. If you look at last year, Erod, 3.30 ERA, had a 4.06 expected FIP, so not bad. Like I said, he's not bad. He's good. He's not great, right? He's someone that's solid, but not someone who I think that is going to be a game changer for this rotation. But Alex, DMAC, get that trade package proposal on Cease ready for the front office, please. Yeah, we'll focus on Cease and the White Sox probably on tomorrow's show or Sunday's show because got some more to do with that. And by the way, next week we're going to do specific trade packages. I got the graphics made up. We'll talk about that. We'll do some more on that. But I think right now, though, you got to, hey, they're open for business. Got to fire up that. I hope that Milwaukee, they're seeing 310 area codes right now, right? I hope that Milwaukee, and John Morosi already said that we could see an active trade market. Same with Robert Murray, the insider, said we could see an active trade market, whether it be right after Thanksgiving, leading up to the winter meetings, during the winter meetings. So, by the way, just a reminder, I'm going to be at the winter meetings this year in Tennessee. I'm going to try to get you guys every single bit of information on all things Dodger baseball. Hopefully we hear something about Ohtani during or after, who knows, could be before. But Michael Hopper says, by the way, with the rules that are pro base stealing, we need a prolific defensive catcher. Yeah, I mean, just look at anywhere, right? Defense is definitely at a premium right now. Mr. Seaback, conspiracy talk, Dodgers and Brewers front office staff both got infected at the winter meetings. Okay, that's a bro. Samuel Kim says, no Erod for me. If he's not about winning, then I question his commitment if he's on the team. Look, it's a business decision. I think you have to respect that. I mean, these guys, look, they want to win for sure, but technically he made the right deal. If from a financial decision, he made the right deal. I mean, he could have still, if he wanted to, he could have gone trade to the Dodgers and perform well, possibly sign a bigger deal. I mean, imagine, let's look at this scenario. Look at this scenario. What if Eduardo Rodriguez, what if Erod got traded to the Dodgers and they had a deep postseason run? He put together some starts like Jordan Montgomery and put himself in a better position to sign a bigger deal. That could have happened. He didn't want to bet on himself. So that dude, to me, that's a red flag, though. That's a major, major red flag. I think nothing against the guy. You had your chance to be a Dodger. It's a special organization, especially for pitchers. If you didn't want to embrace that at the time, then it does say a lot about you as a pitcher. I know that geographically, his family in Miami. I love how they said, oh, we love Detroit. We love Detroit, but if it's $69 million, an extra $20 million, we don't love it that much, right? We don't love Detroit that much. Everyone has a price, right? But a couple more here, then we'll head out, let you guys enjoy your Friday nights here on a quick edition, guys. Yeah, just wanted to dive into some of these rumors, keep you guys updated here. What are you guys doing here on Friday night? Can you imagine if we got Ohtani, Burns, and Yelich? That'd be wild. That'd be great. Abs, I think that Ohtani and Burns is something that's very realistic. As crazy it is, I know we're spoiled here in Los Angeles, and credit to the Guggenheim Group and Friedman and company, but Erod is immature for his age. J.A. By the way, we have a very, very special in-studio interview next Tuesday, guys. I don't want to say who it is, but definitely the biggest one that we possibly could get. Nando390 canceled plans with my wife so I could watch this stream. My man Nando always rolling with us. Whoops. That's the comment of the game, my man. Nando. ERA means nothing these days. Look at whip, Mr. Seabad. We got, hey, D-Mag, chant to this. F. Scott Boris. Dun, 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 dun. Snell was 25 and 26, 385 his last 4 years before his contract year. How does Doug Mario, what up? We got Ken. We call. Can't read that one. Eduardo Rodriguez would be the Dodgers' best active pitcher right now. That's from Talking Twins podcast. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he would, because what is that? Well, I did disagree. I mean, I still think the upside of a Bobby Miller trumps an ERA. I think ERA peripherals, if you want to look that route, for sure. But I still think moving forward, I would take Bobby Miller over Eduardo Rodriguez. And look, Eduardo Rodriguez is someone that can help this team. Make no mistake about it. I absolutely think he could. I would not rule it out. I really wouldn't. At the right price, sure, why not? I don't think it's that likely. I think that for the purpose of that rumor in general, you're going to see all these guys want to maximize their market, expand their market, but still, look, you had a chance to be a Dodger. You didn't take advantage of that opportunity. I'm not saying that there's bad blood between the two sides, but look, the Dodgers, especially after what happened after the trade deadline with Julio Urias getting arrested for felony domestic violence charges, you had all the injuries that followed that. They needed him the worst way. Had they had one quality start during the NLDS, who knows what the case would have been as far as the outcome of that season. So I do think that there's some bad blood there, because this is a franchise that, to be frank, they suffered a very embarrassing loss. And you look at, it was historic, 25 ERA. You have 13 runs. We're able to get 14 outs from your starting pitchers. I mean, everything was bad. I'm going to try to etch a sketch that from my memory. I'm going to try to forget about that. But some more here. Scott Boris, what's up, Dodgers Nation? What up, Samuel Ellis? Mike Taylor, I'd pass on Erod. I see the mediocrity. Just looking at the video you just showed me, it only took a few seconds of video for me to detect all about his pitching and attitude. Snell dominates our lineup every year, so I would rather him pitching for us. That's for Metal Rules V. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about Snell a little later. I mean, we did a little deep dive on him a couple days ago. I do find it very interesting. Blake Snell, two-time Cy Young Award winner, right? 2018. He's going to win it for 2023. Outside of those two Cy Young Award winning years, he has never even received Cy Young votes. So, pretty interesting. The Astros suck. That's from Omar. Lance Lynn gave up his 1,589th home run. Yeah, I mean, Lance Lynn served up more meatballs than a Buca de Beppo. Dodger baseball, Imanaga had better stuff than Yamamoto. Disagree with that. I mean, I think strikeout-wise, absolutely. He struck out more hitters at a higher clip, walked less batters. The issue with him was the home runs, though. He gave 17 more home runs than Yamamoto. I know that people are saying that Yamamoto is on the smaller side. I do think from a durability standpoint, it is a factor. But on the flip side, just look at Pedro Martinez, right? Everyone said that Pedro Martinez was too small. He was too frail. Turned into Delino DeShields, and he ended up being the worst trade in Dodgers franchise history. So I think that it's a little more complicated than that. I think Yamamoto, though, is filthy. The rumor today is that the Mets and the Yankees are major players. My prediction for Yamamoto is he ultimately signs with the Mets. I could still see the Giants being heavily involved with him as well. Trade for Cease and Kopech. Yeah, we're going to dedicate a whole episode to the White Sox in a couple days, maybe even tomorrow. Agreed, but no. Erod, fire Roberts, fire Roberts, fire Roberts. D-Mac, I'm registered at Target for my Dodgers Ohtani baby. Amazon also. That's a fire take.
Fire take.
If we don't get Ohtani, fire the front office. Justin Lamas, D-Mac's son more realistic than Noah's hypothetical firstborn son. We got Everybody Loves Christmas. I love Corbin Burns and Shane Bieber. D-Mac, what do you think? Yeah, Corbin Burns is definitely tops on my list. I think if you look at Shane Bieber, he's trended in the wrong direction. The velocity's been down. The injuries, to me, point to something, maybe something serious. I mean, it'd be great to bring a Gaucho back, UCSB guy. Shane Bieber, though, yeah, I'm not so sure if I'm a believer at this stage of his career. But a couple more here, guys, and we're going to head out of this one. Thanks for rocking with us here on Dodgers Dugout Live. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Hit that like button. Stay tuned for content all off season. Monday through Friday, we're coming at you live. Also, we're doing videos on the side. I'm going to drop my top 50 free agents with predictions, even players that aren't even on the Dodgers, so be on the lookout for that. No Yelich, please Burns. Yes, he only dominates us. LMAO. What's more likely, Lance Lynn giving up a home run or USCD giving up TDs? Justin Lamas. Well, the thing is, the USC fired Alex Grinch, the Grinch that stole Caleb Williams' career at USC, but the Dodgers, they didn't fire Lance Lynn. They didn't even take him out after 2 home runs in that game. By the way, Lance Lynn just gave up another home run. Mario, I just do a lot of research, my guy. I don't really have much going on but this, so I look up all this stuff and do all this stuff. Hey, D-Mac, if you want to talk MMA to punch Scott, I'll give you some multiple names. I got you, man. Hey, what's up, D-Mac? I think the Dodgers should pass on Yamamoto and wait and sign Sasaki. Who would you prefer from the 2 pitchers? For me, Roki Sasaki, 6'4", 103 miles per hour. He's someone who's absolutely filthy. The only question with Sasaki is when is he going to make that jump to the show? Is he someone who's going to go the Ohtani route and be willing to sign for a small signing bonus relative to what these guys earn and play through the minor league system? Does he have that in his contract? A lot of people say that he has that provision. He's going to have that ability. I don't think it's going to happen this offseason. Could happen next offseason. But Sasaki is filthy. I mean, really, you're picking between Bentleys and Rolls Royces at that point. I definitely want both those guys, but I would definitely take Sasaki just for the higher upside and ceiling. D-Mac Greens from LAX, move Muncy to second, Bush to third, move Marcus to left field, sign Gray and Nola. So I'll unpack that one really quick for you. Look, Max Muncy, do you think he has a lateral quickness for second? I'm not so sure. The Dodgers, they clearly want Mookie Betts to play second base more this year. You also have Gavin Lux, who Gomes said the other day, they are invested in him, and he's continuing to make progress this offseason and is expected to be ready for spring training. But they could also use Lux at second if they don't think he's completely ready for that shortstop position. For Michael Busch, Brandon Gomes said the other day that he's playing some outfield, right? Could he play some third? Possibly. I'm not totally against the idea, but I would rather use Michael Busch in a trade to try to get another starting pitcher, to try to get an impact player, because at this point, it just doesn't feel like they have the role for him. They're not invested in him. As far as Vargas, too, would not be shocked to see Vargas packaged in a deal for someone if a team still believes in him because of his youth. That's possible. He was dealing with a thumb injury last year that definitely impacted him. So, yeah, as far as Muncy, I think, look, ideally, Muncy's a DH. Muncy's someone who I wouldn't completely rule out as a trade chip. Most likely won't be the case, but that's still a possibility. So I think we're just getting started, guys. I truly think that Ohtani's the priority. Starting pitching is also the priority. Corbin Burns, Dylan Cease, Mitch Keller, we can run them off all day. Aaron Nola, I love Aaron Nola. Think he's going to be great. Don't think he'll be a Dodger at the end of the day. I see him going to the Cardinals, possibly the Cubs. Blake Snell, Mariners, Giants, Cubs. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that could use a Blake Snell. Maybe the Yankees, right? So it's going to be a very interesting offseason. We're just getting started, guys, but thanks again for joining us here on Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKay. My friends call me D-Mac. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Do me a huge favor. If you want to see Shohei Otani on the Dodgers, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely say your Ohtani prayers. Like I said, give him the blank check, and let's get Ohtani in Dodger blue. That is the top priority. So, absolutely. And remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. A couple more comments here, and I'll let you guys go. We got Freeman talks like the Godfather. This from Dan Smith. Freeman talks like the Godfather and posts like Gold member. Fire Freeman. No, don't fire Freeman. One of the best of the game. By the way, I'm going to make him an offer I can't refuse. I'm a reasonable man. Ohtani and Sasaki, Dodgers powerhouse. Absolutely. Can you imagine that? Vienna sausage. I wish Dodgers Dave Roberts could be fired so we can go to the Hall of Fame faster. D-Max Mama, I made a big plate of spaghetti and meatballs for you, son. You're looking a little thin. Okay, then. That's going to do it, guys. Remember, nothing brings together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.